Raquel Bowman here, and today I'm here creating a new layout for Cocoa Vanilla Studio. I'm going to be documenting my little man and a trip that we made over summer to the beach, and I just want to create a fun, cute page of him pretty much. I took so many beach photos and this is one of them, which I just loved because of this cheeky little face that he has and this little pose that he made when I asked him to smile at the camera. I've printed it out in both colour and black and white because I'm not yet sure what I want to use, and depending on how the embellishments go and how they look to which photo I will choose. Of course, black and whites are always easiest to work with because you know, you can choose and add in any colors that you want. But with this photo, there is actually, you know, it's quite neutral in colors. So he's just wearing like black and gray, and then we've got obviously the paleness of his skin and the sand. So this would definitely work as well. What I've done is I've grabbed a cut file from Paper Issues store, and I wanted to have it fit. This was a 12 by 12 cut file, but I wanted it to fit an 8.5 by 11 page. So what I actually did was I sort of welded, or I think the option is intersect. So I created a sort of rounded corner rectangular piece, and then I've intersected and joined the cut file that has this sunburst on it together so that it will create one piece that I can back. And I did that slightly smaller than 8.5 by 11 so that I can add a border to the page. I'm going to be using the U-Rock collection today, and as I flicked through the bits and pieces that I have, I really love this wood grain, and I think that that brings in that beachy feel to the page, and it certainly complements the colour photo really well. And then I also want to back the cut file with a pattern paper. So I did pull out this one, but I'm going to look through and see what else I have. And then my plan is just to embellish and have a bit of fun playing around with the collection. So as you might know, Cocoa Vanilla are releasing a new boy collection really soon called Boys Rule. And I might quickly, I've got it on my phone, show you some of the bits and pieces because it is amazing. So we've got large die cuts with backing so that if you don't have something like a cameo, you can actually, you get the pieces and you can back them as well as use the background piece as well. There are chipboard pieces which come in a package and not on a sheet, which I think is so good. And look at these words, like how perfect would they be to scrapbook this photo? I might leave the black and white one for one of these pages and scrap it again, why not? There's flair, there's a miscellany ephemera pack which is like frames and labels and things like that, as well as a normal ephemera pack with all of those amazing words and die cut pieces. We've got some clear stickers as well, some 6 by 12 accessory stickers, a 6 by 8 paper pad, which I cannot wait to play with because it means that you'll be able to back your 4 by 6 photos easily with still having that bit around the end, so those portrait photos that we have. And then there's pattern papers, so it is going to be awesome. So I was in the mood for scrapbooking a boy page. So let's get into it. Enough talking by me about the next collection. Let's enjoy this collection and eagerly wait for Boys Rule. So to start with, I'm going to add my photo to the back of that circular area of the cut file, and to do that I just add some liquid adhesive to the edges of that cut file and then pop my photo on top. I give it some drying times because if I started to trim around it too soon, the photo would move around. So I give it a little bit of drying time so I make sure it's adhered down, and then just as you can see there, use my scissors to cut off that excess. I've started doing cut files that way more recently and just sticking them on and then working on cutting the excess of when I'm backing cut files, and I've found that that for me is a little bit of a quicker process than tracing and then cutting and then sticking and then cutting the little bits that poke out the edges of the cut file off. But we'll see if that's my new method of backing cut files. So I do decide on using this blue. I can tell you what, this layout was a bit of a challenge for me because, you know, I like my white, and I did nearly not use that blue background. I did nearly very, very closely grab a white piece of cardstock, and in the end, I had to have a stern talking to myself and say to give this a go, because I never know, and I might like the result. And I end up loving the result of having those pops of blue. I did cut with yellow paper the little rays to add to the page, but I wanted to add some stitching to them first to give them some detail. As you can see, I've got all the threads going a little bit crazy there. So I wanted them to go on sort of every second one of those rays. So once I'd added the stitching, I tucked and adhered those in sort of underneath the white of the cut file, as you can see there, and then I trim off the excess that's going to be hanging off the edges. So I do that on all of those every second ray, and that just added a nice little detail and a pop of color. I think it really needed that pop of yellow on the page. The wood grain brings in that nice sort of tone of the beach and brings back that beachy feel to the page, and that yellow just adds that color that the page, I feel, yeah, definitely needed. So once I've popped those rays on, I'm just going around the edges with a larger pair of scissors now, just cutting off any of those excess bits and pieces, and then I'll stick the whole piece onto that wood grain. And I do end up adhering that whole piece with some foam. So I buy those foam sheets from Lincraft, and they come in, actually these ones I think had adhesive on them. I think I bought them online somewhere, and I just searched for adhesive foam sheet. And the reason that I wanted the adhesive on them was just to take away that extra step, basically, of adding the glue. So I've popped that along the whole back, so that's whole piece is sort of popping off the page. Then you've got the cut file on top, and now I'm going to embellish. So I've got my photo in the top right corner. I want to add a cluster to the bottom left corner, and then another cluster to that left side of the photo, and that will sort of have that layout finished. I bought in the wood pieces because I felt like the page needed that kind of material, given the background and the beach theme. It just complements it nicely. And then I've used any ephemera that I could find that sort of had blue or yellow or orange tones to it. That's what I've sort of added in. So that You Are My World, I chose that ephemera piece because it brought in that circular design again, and it also matched the colors that I'd picked out. Then underneath that it says You Are, and that was taken from the tiny stickers in the You Rock collection. And then the Officially Amazing was another sticker that I've sort of made it say You Are Officially Amazing, which I really liked that sentiment, and I think that it's perfect for my little man, just because I'm totally biased, right? I do add that little tab into the top right corner. I love to add tabs wherever I can around photos and layers. And then I do finish the page just with some of the enamel stickers. And I'm trying to think what else I do. I actually don't really end up adding any journaling to this page just because I didn't feel like it needed it. You can tell it's a beach photo, and it didn't really have an explanation or a story I needed to tell, just that I love the photo and I wanted to document it. So this is a finished layout. Here's some close-ups for you, and I will be back soon. I've got the new collection in my hands, sharing some pages with that. Bye everyone.